Maybe you're short on space in your garage. Maybe you just need to get the bike upright to work on it or clean it, or maybe you're going to be storing it for long periods of time. Stick around because I'm going to share a product with you today that I think is going to be a game changer. At least I know it will be for us, hopefully for you too. Welcome to Sikbaggers YouTube channel. I'm Steve, and today I'm going to be showing you something pretty cool. Now, normally when we're working on bikes in here or we're shooting videos for YouTube, we're having to jockey bikes around inside the shop so we can get them on the lift or out of the way for the cameras and stuff like that. Doing 942 point turns just to get a bike turned around and twisted and out of the way so we can back up a bike and move a bike. Now, aside from the two lift tables, we do have two motorcycle jacks that we can use in a pinch. Maybe the lifts are tied up and we need to get something in, just pull a wheel or a tire off or change a set of brakes or something real quick. And I really honestly don't like doing that because those motorcycle jacks, when you get a 1,000-pound bike on them, they can get sketchy real quick, especially if you're pulling off wheels. And I'll tell you a true story that happened to me about 4 years ago with a motorcycle jack. I was in a hurry, had to get the wheel and the tire up to Harley-Davidson to get a new tire put on it because I only had a little bit of time to get that done. My single lift I had at the time had a bike on it with wheels and tires already off of it, so moving that was out of the question. Grabbed the motorcycle jack, slipped it under there, got it balanced, jacked it up, even strapped it off to hold it down, and as soon as I pulled the axle out and that wheel dropped, the bike tilted like this onto the back tire. Now that whole motorcycle jack was completely twisted like this. Now it was still sitting on the frame and it was still standing upright, but it was sitting on the back tire, front fork sticking way up in the air. So I grab a hold of the forks, hoping this thing's not going anywhere. I go into full-blown panic mode. I look over, my cell phone is laying all the way over there on my desk. So I'm not calling anybody for help. So I had to quickly figure out how to get this bike pulled back over and get that wheel back on it to balance that bike back out. Even with those straps on there, it didn't matter. The straps just moved when the thing tilted. And what I ended up having to do was grab my other jack and stick it behind the back tire to keep it from flipping back like that, because I absolutely had to get that wheel off that day. But that's two motorcycle jacks to get one single little job done. And that was absolute chaos for like 30 minutes. And I never want to go through that again. I ran across a product that I know is going to help us here in the shop, and I'm going to introduce you to it today. Right here on the table, we got the Let's Row motorcycle lift and dolly system. Now, as you can see out here on the table, all the different parts. So when you get this, unbox it, and we're going to put it together today. And I'm going to show you how to do it. It's very easy to assemble, but the first thing I want to do is go over everything on the lift and the dolly. Now, this whole system is made from US steel, and it's all covered in this textured matte black powder coat. One of the most important things on a dolly will be the wheels. Now, while the motorcycle jacks are not necessarily meant to be putting your bike on and then moving the bike around on the jack, even though it has 4 wheels on it, that's not necessarily what that's for. That is just for ease of pushing the jack in and out from underneath your bike. Now, that being said, just about everybody that owns a motorcycle jack has tried to move their bike on that motorcycle jack. And I know mine over there comes with these little bitty steel 2-inch wheels, which can be super tough on your concrete, or if you have epoxy floors in your garage, those things are horrible on that. That can crease and then ultimately chip up the epoxy on your floor. Now, the Let's Row dolly comes with a 4-inch zero scuff urethane wheel. Now, these casters are going to make it super easy to roll around 1,000 pounds and not mess up your floor. So maybe if you have cut marks in your garage floor to prevent cracking, or if you don't and you have cracking in your floor, because we all know there's 2 things guaranteed with concrete, is 1, that it will dry, and 2, that it will crack. So if you have either one of those in your floor, the 4-inch caster is going to make it a lot more easier to move around because it's got a lot more surface area touching the floor and to go over those cracks and keep your bike stable. Now, inside the kit, you're going to get 2 regular casters. You're going to get 2 locking casters. You can get on the website and order 2 more locking casters if you want, but this is what comes with the kit. 2 locking, 2 standard. It's very important to have these because when you're putting the bike on or taking it off, you need to have these locked. And also when you get your bike into position wherever you want it, you can lock it and you don't have to worry about it rolling. We got the 2 lifts here, 1 for each side of the dolly. As you can see on the side of it here, you got 2 holes in the front, 2 holes in the rear for each side. That's going to allow you to move it up or down depending on how tall your bike sets off the floor. The basic idea of using the lift is just to get the tires off of the floor so you can slide the dolly under it and then let it back down. We got this thick rubber pad here that's super grippy. It's not going to damage your frame, scratch your paint, anything like that. Because once you get your bike up on the dolly, it's sitting on a pretty slick powder coated frame, and you don't want your bike moving around on that, and that's definitely going to help keep that in place. Now, here I actually have the lift. Now, we have 3 or 4 of these lifts here in the shop that we use up on the lift tables, because once we get the bike up in the air, we still have to get the bike upright or jack up the rear, jack up the front, depending on what we're doing on the bikes. Out of all 3 of those that we have in here, none of them them are as wide as this one. Having a wide stance on your lift is going to make a huge difference in that whole teeter thing that's going on with these heavy bikes. You also have thick felt pads on the backside. It's going to help you slide this in and out from underneath your bike. Inside the kit, you will have detailed directions on how to use the lift and the dolly. Now, even though you've watched this video, I want you to read these. It takes like 2 minutes to read this, and you're going to be ensuring that you're using this correctly and it'll be safe. You'll also get a 100% original authentication letter that comes with this to verify that this is 100% authentic from Let's Roll. So if you go over and check out Let's Roll's website, they do have additional pieces or parts that you can buy. Like I said, you can get additional 2 locking casters that we talked about a while ago. And if you happen to be watching this video and you have an Indian, they do have an Indian adapter plate, and they also have a rack that you can mount on the wall that holds this entire system and gets it up off the floor. And the best part about this entire thing is made right here in the United States with US steel. These things are actually made in Michigan, which isn't too far from me. So from here, we're going to grab our tool cart, get it over here. I'll show you how to assemble everything, and then we can put it to use. When you grab this first piece, you'll notice that the section from here to here is a little longer than this side. You want this longer side towards the logo. So when we get started with the left side, we're going to make sure we got 2 nuts, 2 washers, and make sure your bolt has a washer on it as well. And remember, that long side goes towards the Let's Roll logo. So we're going to slide this on. The bolts go from the outside in. So we're just going to line this up, put that through. Same thing over here. We're going to get a washer on there and our nut. Washer. And our nut. We're going to grab our 9/16 ratchet and our wrench. Let's Roll recommends that you put a locking on one corner on the front and the other corner on the rear, which makes sense because you don't know where you're going to be standing at on the bike, and you can lock it down real quick. You don't have to run around the bike. So we're going to grab one of our locking ones. We're going to put it back here, put the washer on it, that 3/4 inch nut. So we're going to grab our 3/4 inch wrench on the bottom, 3/4 inch on the top. We're going to snug that down. One locking wheel opposite of the other locking wheel. Now we're going to build the lift, and this is equally as easy too. Inside the package, you're going to have your screw assembly, 2 bolts, and of course your grease pack. Super important to grease this before you use it, or it will void the warranty. First thing we want to do is get our lift on its side. We got it in its fully open position. We're going to take this piece, we're going to slide it in through the back, get that lined up, get that all the way in there. Now once you have that metal piece butted up against this, we're going to take our bolt, we're going to line this up, get our bottom bolt started, going to get our top bolt started. We're going to take our 1/2 inch ratchet, we're going to go ahead and torque this down. Double check both sides. Good to go. Now before we grease this and run this in, it's very important to not use an impact on this. Never use an impact on this or any other lift like this. So what we're going to do, now that we have this backed all the way out, we're going to add the grease to the first third of this, and we're going to let the grease distribute as we screw it in. So we're just going to put this on. We've got 1/3 of it covered there. Now most of the time when I'm using these, I just use a ratchet, but this time, since we're going to run this all the way in and back out several times, I am going to use my drill. It's going to be, this end is going to be a 7/8. So we're going to run this all the way in. We're just going to do it slowly so we don't sling grease everywhere, but we're going to run this in. And then we're going to back it out. We're just going to run that in and out several times. We're going to take a paper towel and we're going to wipe off some of this excess on the end. We didn't use all the grease, so when you get done, stick it back in the Ziploc bag, throw it in your toolbox. Check this periodically to make sure that this thing stays greased. First thing you want to do is make sure that your bike is in gear. It's important to find the balancing point of the bike. This lift is no different than a motorcycle jack or any other lift. You got to find the balancing point. The direct middle of the bike is not the balancing point. I know with the soft tails and a 21-inch front wheel, our balancing point is going to be a little bit more forward than it is back. If I put it right in the middle of the frame and I start jacking it up, Back tire is going to come off the ground, front tire is not. Before you slide the jack in, make sure you get underneath there and look to make sure you don't have any hoses, wires, LED light kits, anything like that hanging down that you can squish or pinch, right? So once you make sure the bottom of this is clear, we're going to slide this in. Going to go a little bit more towards the front. Make sure that you have equal padding hanging out from underneath the frame on both sides. You don't want it too far one way or the other. Once you get it there, you can start jacking it up. Now while it's on the jiffy stand, it'll start to slowly roll over onto the lift. You don't have to assist it. It's just me because I'm old and I want to hang on to something. Back tire's off the ground, front tire's off the ground, right? Now once we have it in place, we're going to slide our dolly in from the other side of the bike. Now you can see the play that's in this dolly from right to left, right? And because the center point on this soft tail is so far forward, we're starting to get close to that edge of the frame where it starts to roll up in the front. So when we slide our dolly in, we want to make sure it's butted all the way up against this piece of the jack, not centered too far forward. So make sure you pay attention to where the rails on your dolly are falling out, right? We're going to lock that wheel in place. We're going to lock the other wheel in place and then start letting it down. Now we can pull out the lift. Now, I've unlocked the wheels. I'm going to push the bike here. You can see forward and back how solid that is. So we know we don't have any rock this way with the bike. And now I can push this thing around. No problem whatsoever. No more backing up, turning around. We can just turn the bike around and now we're headed out the garage. Or if I need to shove it over here on the side, I can do that too. We're going to take it over here across these cracks in the floor. Goes right across that, no problem. And we're also going to do the ultimate test of any caster wheel on a concrete floor, and that is the dreaded zip tie. Just about anything that you roll around on a concrete floor is going to fail when it hits the zip ties. These things will stop you dead in your tracks. Zip tie, right over it. Zip tie in the crack and went right over it. So I think we passed our test. Hell, I just noticed that I have the dolly in there just a little bit crooked. You may have picked up on that when I was spinning around the bike. I didn't pay any attention to it. But I just looked down, that dolly is crooked underneath the bike and that thing is still super stable. So pretty cool. In order to set it down, same thing. Put the lift back in. Lift all the way up. Make sure your kickstand is down. Unlock both wheels. Pull our dolly out. So all we have to do is let her down. And I'll go right back on the kickstand. Make sure, again, make sure that you're in gear so your bike doesn't roll. And now we're going to do our Rogue Glide ST, which is quite a bit heavier than that soft tail. So got her over here. Get her dolly. Roll it in from the other side of the bike. Get it squared up. And then we're going to start letting it down. And slide our jack out of the way. And always be careful to remember where your toes are when you're moving the bike, because those caster wheels are big and they will hurt. So you can see how easily this bike moves around. If I wanted to push this up against the wall over there, no big deal. I'm going to get on the other side of the bike. I'm going to get all the wheels going in the direction that I need the bike to go. And we've pushed it over and it's out of the way. And that, my friends, is a Let's Roll lift and dolly system. That thing is going to save me so much time jockeying around bikes in here. One good thing is yes, it is a dolly and you can absolutely move the bike around, shove it up against the wall, whatever you want to do. But if you have winter time like we do here in Southern Illinois and you need to store your bike, or maybe you're going somewhere and you need to store your bike for long periods of time and you want to get the weight of the bike off the suspension and off your tires, this is a good way to do it. And you don't have to worry about hydraulics leaking down. I've seen some of the best made motorcycle jacks. It's hydraulics. They tend to leak down over time. If that thing starts to leak down and you're nowhere around and that bike starts to lean, you're going to come back to a hot mess. I'm absolutely glad that I got it. It's going to save me a bunch of time in the wintertime jockeying around bikes without having to open the garage door. They can keep one of my bikes that are on kickstands upright and out of the way, just pushed out of the way. So it's one of these two bikes is always going to be on this dolly. And like I said, if you don't have the benefit of having motorcycle lifts in your garage, this dolly is going to make your life a lot easier. This thing is way more stable if you're going to be working on your bikes, especially if you're going to be pulling any weight from the front or the rear of the bike. I have absolutely no doubt that with the width of this dolly that this bike's not going anywhere if I pull that front or that rear wheel. So like I said, working on your bike, cleaning your bike, storing your bike, or just moving your bike around the shop so you can get your car in, get it up out of the way. It takes up less room, get it up against the wall so you can get your car, get your truck in, whatever you're doing. This dolly is going to save you a ton of time and hassle, and it's a lot safer than a standard motorcycle jack. If you want to get your hands on one of these, I'll put the link down in the description down below. It'll take you straight over to Let's Roll's website. If you want to go over there, click shop and then shop all. It'll show you everything. Like I said, they got a standard one, they got the pro version, they got a bunch of other stuff on the website too. So make sure to check out letsroll.com via the link down in the description. I hope this video helped you, and if it did, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Make sure to check out the rest of our YouTube channel, over 250 bagger softail related videos. Tell your friends about us. That's what keeps us coming out here and making these videos for you. But I'm going to get myself cleaned up, and then I'm going to come back out here and play around with my new dolly. Start moving some bikes around, saving myself a bunch of room. I hope to see you in the next video, but until then, as always, be safe. Keep your knees in the breeze. Hey, thanks for stopping by and checking out our videos today. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that like button, hit the little subscribe button popping up over here. If you want to check out more of our content, I've got 2 videos right here that'll get you started. Not really going to say anything else, just click one of those videos and take you to another video.